Happy Friday to you. It's going to be a pretty hot day. Highs will be up around 90 degrees today. We could have a shower or thunderstorm today. I'm not liking the prospects for widespread rain, so this could be isolated. Maybe a better chance overnight of some showers. Showers will continue tomorrow. There's some debate as to whether or not we'll get some morning rain and then kind of clear for a bit, and then maybe some afternoon and evening rain, and then overnight tomorrow night. And then maybe a shower or storm on Sunday. I really want to enjoy even today, even though it's going to be hot, these lower temperatures because it is going to get brutal next week. We're in the mid and upper 80s on Monday, but by Tuesday we're in the low to mid 90s. By Wednesday, Thursday, likely Friday, maybe even into Saturday, we're going to be up near 100 degrees. Now, the humidity is going to be a little bit interesting because we're going to have westerly winds, which are going to compress air, making that temperature go shooting way higher, but maybe actually giving us a little bit of break on the humidity factor. So, regardless, that type of heat is going to be dangerous, so we need to be careful. So, here we are as we start off the day today. Pretty much, there could be a shower storm this morning. We'll have to see. We're already shooting into tomorrow. Let's see how quick it goes. But nothing really, as you can see, widespread here today. Nothing really big that we have to be concerned about. As we go into the overnight and then into tomorrow, maybe some showers, like said, especially in the morning time frame, but maybe get a little break. Not as many showers in the middle part of the day. And then a resurgence of some moisture maybe later, as we see there, overnight into early Sunday. And then maybe a chance of a shower storm on Monday. But it doesn't look, Sunday, but it doesn't look that much. And Monday's looking dry. This is pretty nice. We do have some northerly flow here. So I think Monday's going to be a pretty good day. Highs up in the 80s. Won't feel too hot. And you see the strong low here and the strong southerly and southwesterly flow. And there's a heat dome that's going to build in this region. You can see these heights are very, very, very high. Even there's a low here to the west. Don't worry about that. The heights are extremely high in the upper atmosphere. So there's a heat dome, meaning it's up high up in the atmosphere. And as we move forward, we're going to see that continue to increase its hold here in the region. So Monday, not too bad, but by Tuesday, the heat and the high get sent right over this area. And here's where the dome is kind of setting up. And when it happens, falling and compressing air makes it very, very hot. And we get a westerly wind off the mountains. We get even more compression, which can actually increase the temperatures. So Tuesday hot. By Wednesday, we're now really soaring. The 582 and the very high heights here in the upper atmosphere are really high. We'll show it on the anomalies. So we're just in this heat bubble here. This upper level high pressure system in place, causing really, really soaring temperatures. And this is just sticking around. So we get Wednesday. Here's maybe a disturbance in the southern areas, so we'll have to watch for that. Notice how wild that is. It's moving more like east to west, which is abnormal. It's because it's riding around the dome in the upper atmosphere. This could be really some severe weather. They'll have to watch for that. We could see the same. We'll have to watch, around Thursday or so for maybe a cluster like that to form potentially here, but we'll see. It's not a very strong chance. And again, this is so far off. Who knows? Maybe the ridge kind of gets dirty here on Friday and Saturday, which will give us a break. We'll get showers and storms. Of course, we're talking 4th of July now. Temperatures still look really high. These are high heights. These are very warm conditions, but the high has moved a little further west. And this is a little bit of an interesting trajectory because we get into a northwest flow instead of a westerly flow. And northwest flows are notorious for developing clusters of thunderstorms that move through that become very severe. So we'll see if this pans out. If it does, we'll have to watch to see if any of these waves of low pressure or disturbances move through the area and causes some problems. It's still pretty hot. These are still really high heights. So got to watch the heat just continuing for quite a while. There's nothing really breaking it down here. And again, more disturbances going around this dome that we'll have to watch. So they're showing up as low pressure. It's just mesoconvective complexes. These are complexes of thunderstorms that potentially could develop in those regions, and we'll have to watch to see how it comes through. But here we are way out, and I'm not saying like any individual, precipitation patterns. Way off in the future, still really high with our high heights. But we do see some things happening here in the middle part with a high coming out of Canada in the really long range. This would be the relief that we need. Still not super cool though. Look at the heights; they're still really, really high in the upper levels. So summer's sticking around regardless, but maybe that's our chance for a little bit of cooling and a very long extended. So how hot is it going to get? Well, what we want to look at are anomalies. So I'm going to go to the anomalies map here. I try to do this quickly because it gets really laborsome. So here we are through the weekend, and of course we're not doing too bad. Sunday into Monday, but then things switch as the dome starts to establish. We get to 5 to 6 degrees above normal. Nighttime lows may be a little cooler, but here we are on Tuesday, really getting hot. Here we're 10, 15 degrees above normal. This is where we're getting up to 100 degrees. But look at how crazy it gets in North Carolina at one point here. We're at 20 degrees above normal. If that's true, I mean, we're talking 105 to 110 degrees. Even over us, we could be up in the hundreds by Thursday easily. Um, you know, Definitely, maybe even in the low hundreds. And that continues into Friday as well. Same heat, with those chances of scattered thunderstorms potentially giving us a break. We can hope for them, but if we don't get them, temperatures still 10 to 15 degrees above normal into next weekend. Maybe there's a brief break here. We'll see if that comes true. This has to do probably more with cloudiness and what the GFS is picking up versus the total breakdown of the heat ridge. Um, but again, now we're really far out there, like I said, when we get the chance for cooler weather to potentially infiltrate in the very long range. But I did say heights were still high. You can see the heights are still here high up in Canada, but this would be nice. But this is way, way out there. By the way, it does correlate, if anybody knows anything about weather, to the long range after a typhoon gets diverted or curves off the Pacific near the Japan and Taiwan and those areas and stuff. If we get a curving system out there, curving hurricane, tends to go and disrupt the cold air up north and bring it down to the United States. So we can hope. But we're talking about 2 weeks where we're probably going to be dealing with really above normal temperatures. And that is, really what the Climate Prediction Center is holding. Here's that center of that heat, and that heat sticks around into the long range. Maybe not as quite as severe, but still really, really hot. So that's kind of what we're seeing from there. Now, what about our overall? So there's a 6 to 10 day more local. Here's our precipitation chances. Really, it's going to matter whether or not we get showers and storms on top of us over the next couple of days. And then maybe in the long range, the scattered showers and storms, just when it gets really hot, we tend to get there. So that's going to be something we're going to have to look for. What about severe weather? Well, today, because it's so warm, there could be a marginally severe weather risk. It's showing basically wind as the main risk. We'll have to see if that comes to fruition. I think it depends on how much heating we get and some instability in the system. So that's kind of what we see overall. All right, that was it for the long range. And it just is going to be very, very hot next week. So hopefully everybody, can deal with it and it's not too bad.